Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and we have our Week 17 review coming right up. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've been, it's been a while through the course of the season, although I will say it is kind of flying by in the sense of, it feels weird that we're already at Week 17, Rick. It feels like just the other day we were getting started and it was another new year. But time flies as you're having fun. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you guys are listening to us on Spotify right now, make sure you guys leave us 5 stars. We very much appreciate the support. So I go 3-1 this week. I have a bit of a bounce back week. I needed that. You go 2-2, so a pretty even week. Not a good week, not a bad week though, as far as your pick'ems go. And shall we get into the first game here, Rick?
Sure.
The first game being the Montreal Alouettes defeat the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 38-20. And Davis Alexander has now set the CFL record for most consecutive wins to start a career. Davis Alexander is now 9-0 when starting. And so 38-20 victory for the Alouettes. How do you kind of look back at this, Rick?
So you can really tell. I just want to see how far back this goes. So that's 2. They're on the bye week. 3. So we're dating back to, I want to say, let me just check this. Oh, no, I don't care about freaking Toonie bad people. Okay, so I want to say from week 12 was when he last played good. So I'd say from week 13 to 17, Vernon Adams has been garbage. Like, he has not done well at all. And you can tell.
No, I agree with you.
And you can tell that, like, even injuries for Calgary has, like, gone down the toilet. Mind you, did you watch that game or no?
I kind of kept tabs on it, but I was at work at the time, so no.
After the game, Berglund went off in his post-game interview. He's like, oh, GSN, 3-down nation, no one gave us a fucking chance. This is the same freaking 0-5 team, and now we're going to go out and prove everyone wrong and this and that. It's like, bud, first off, you've only won 1 game. Relax. Take a chill pill. I'm like, you guys play Ottawa twice and Winnipeg in your next 3 games. If you finish second, try to get past the West team first. Then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Because really, Ottawa, you playing Ottawa back-to-back ain't going to prove friggin' nothing.
Yeah. That's fair. No, but all in all, when I look at this game here, firstly, I see that the Calgary plays a consistently just kind of game. And at least offensively, like they produce an okay amount. They get 20 points, but it's kind of hard to win a game with just 20. But that's where you then need to rely on the defense, and the defense just gives up too much in this second and third quarter. 14 points in both of those quarters, respectively. And it was one of those things where that was a problem in the sense of that if you take out Montreal's production in the first and fourth quarter, Montreal still wins this game. They still win 28-20, even taking out that. And so there's just the Stampeders have too much of these just kind of lapses that then caused them to get behind, and then they just couldn't get back. And Vernon Adams, it's not that Vernon Adams is a bad quarterback, but he hasn't been quite the same recently. He hasn't been exactly, I think, where if you're the Stampeders, you're hoping for him to be at, as he goes 19 for 29 in this game. So his completion percentage is not great. 238 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like, it's just fine. But fine isn't really going to cut it, as Calgary as at times look like the best team in the league. But right now, it's just they found themselves in a little bit of a slump, and their receiving game was okay, but for every target that they got in it, like there's the only person who caught all of their passes with Dedrick Mills, whether that was on the receiver for screwing it up, whether that was on the quarterback for on Vernon Adams for not giving the proper pass. But this was at the end of the day, they needed to play a little bit more offense, and they needed to play a lot more defense because they gave up 40 points, almost.
I mean,
with 38.
They also had 161 rushing yards between I don't know how many people, but
yeah. But they need to play better defense. You give up 28 points in 2 quarters, and it's going to be hard to win a game. As you can very easily lose a game where you lose 28 points over the course of the entire game. And so that's something where Calgary makes a trade coming in here. We're not going to talk about that, as we're going to have a whole separate video coming out later today on that trade. So make sure you guys tune into that later, as Lorenzo Malden IV trade from the Ottawa Redblacks to the Calgary Stampeders. But that were kind of the problems for the Calgary side of things. For the Montreal side of things, the rushing game is just kind of fine. Like, I don't know. They don't really get much going. The average for Stevie Scott III isn't great. Shea Patterson's average is abysmal, but that's because he's going in short yardage. So that's kind of what you expect. That there's nothing really wrong there. Davis Alexander goes 26 for 36. So a little over 66%. Throws 350 passing yards, with the longest being a 46-yard pass, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Tyler Snead, Cole Speaker, Tyson Philpott, Charleston Ramble, all these guys putting up at least 50 yards or more, with Snead being the only one over 100 yards with 115 passing yards. So the passing game for Montreal was really, really working, and it was that Calgary Stampeders secondary that just couldn't tighten it up. Obviously, this is an elite receiving corps in Montreal, potentially the best in the league as far as receiving corps. They just look damn good. And that was a problem for Calgary. And not that they not, and it's one of those things where you don't necessarily need to stop everything, but you need to stop more than they did. So that was a problem for the Stampeders. And that was kind of what it went well for the Alouettes. So, what you got for this game, Rick?
Nothing really. It is what it is.
So, did I kind of cover what?
I just want to see if this game is going to be what it was, or if it's just a one-off.
Yeah. Now,
and it's funny because Shea Patterson had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Out of all people.
In short yardage.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you want to get to the next one here?
Sure.
Where the BC Lions defeat the Toronto Argonauts by a score of 27-22, which is a bit interesting here, as Nick Arbuckle knows a little bit about throwing a bunch of interceptions and still coming out with a win. He threw 4 one of these weeks. I can't remember which week it was. As Nathan Rourke throws 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and BC still is able to get it done. This is a pretty consistent game on both sides. I wouldn't say that there's at one point where BC really stomps Toronto, or at one point where Toronto really stomps BC. BC kind of outplays them in the second and third quarter. Toronto outplays them in the first quarter, and in that fourth quarter, it's 7-7 each way. James Butler has a great game at 7 carries for 72 yards with an average of 10.3 with 45 yards. James Butler has been very, very good for the Lions this year. He's meshed very well with the BC Lions offensive line, which has had its challenges in pass protection, but in rush protection, rush blocking, in downfield rush blocking, has done well. Even Xander Horvath, with just his 4 carries, gets 25 yards on it and averages 6.3. He still is doing very good. So the BC Lions run game has been key here. And even with Nathan Rourke, we're talking about an offense that with just James Butler, Nathan Rourke, and Xander Horvath, They got, let's see, 128 rushing yards offensively. So pretty good for BC. There's nothing really you can complain about there. Keon Hatcher and Justin McInnes, kind of your two big receivers that you're mainly going to. There were others that they went for, but there's a big drop-off after that. They go to Stanley Berryhill III, Kieran Poissant, Aiden Eberhardt, Xander Horvath, as well as James Butler. But the Lions defense is able to play significantly better than they have in other games. Matthew Betts gets 3 sacks and a forced fumble. So Matthew Betts put on quite a showing in this game. So we're talking about a fast kind of edge rusher defensive end, and he's been great for them. And this is kind of the game that they were looking for him, as we're talking about a guy who has, I believe, already set the CFL record for most sacks in a season in his first year in BC, right? Is that correct?
That is correct.
But what did you think of this game?
So a couple of things. First off, Toronto still hasn't found their rushing game with only 28 yards. Keon Hatcher had 1 big catch. That's about it. Otherwise, he would have had less than 30 yards. And Nathan Rourke would have had less than 200 passing yards. Nathan Rourke, 2 rushing touchdowns. So that's like 5 rushing touchdowns in 2 games between 2 different people. I guess we're just throwing it down to the one and then getting rushing touchdowns these days.
Yep.
The big thing there's 2 big things that really stood out to me in this game. One, both teams had over, if you combine the stat together, had over 200 yards in penalties.
Oh, yeah.
Between the 2. One player on Toronto who started his very first game because Ryan Hunter had to be moved over to another guard or tackle position as someone else was injured. This offensive lineman had 6 penalties.
Which O-lineman was this?
This was... Give me one second.
That is an undisciplined problem.
That was... I just got to find out the... I think it was 51. I want to say... Bosey, something along those lines. Oh, yeah, John Bosey, number 51.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, no, that's
like
that's
there's
some
people
undisciplined
calling
crap
for him
that you
to like don't play him anymore, this and that. I'm like, well,
I don't know. Like when you're dealing with injuries, you don't necessarily have that luxury to be able to make that choice. So they'll have to see.
Mind you, with Toronto losing, they're still kind of in playoffs by a hair, but they're still there.
Yeah. So
because
haven't been mathematically eliminated yet.
No, but they have to hope that BC or Winnipeg lose the rest of their 3 games.
And they need to hope that then Edmonton also gets on that decline in the sense of Edmonton's still ahead of them.
Yeah, but Toronto would have to win their next 3 games.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no,
we're in their way next week.
There's numerous things that stand in the way. But so, is there anything else you got here, Rick?
Not on this game.
Because I think both me and you are going to have quite a bit to say about this next one.
More you than me, but it is what it is.
As the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, for lack of better word, Rick, blow out the Hamilton Tiger Cats by a score of 40-3. I feel bad saying that because I know it's not nice hearing it, but I also don't know any other way to describe it.
It's not just that. Like, our whole team never showed up.
Well, I mean, this game was over from kickoff. And I think we can agree on that. In the sense of Hamilton starts this game on the wrong foot.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just like as soon as Winnipeg took that lead, it's just like, okay, Hamilton didn't do well in the first possession. Then Winnipeg comes and scores another touchdown, so we're already up 14. It's like, you know what? Just stop. And then here's my thing is, if you are going to double team your starter wide receiver, throw to other people.
And that's the thing is I don't think it's that I don't think Hamilton didn't have the opportunity to do that. As like one thing that I pointed out rightly to you is that the two guys double teaming Kenny Lawler were Demario Houston and Evan Holm, arguably the two most capable the two most capable defensive the two most capable guys like DBs that we got. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity to Hamilton to try to get that ball around. And they just don't.
That's what I mean. Those 7 other incompletes could have went to other people.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And it's just like, really? Our defense can't tackle with garbage.
Well, I don't even think, not even just the defense, special teams as well.
No, but I mean, it's like you throw a pass of 6 yards. You can't tackle the guy. The guy's going to go run for a few more. Throw another pass. They can't tackle him. It's like, what the hell, people? It's not rocket science to tackle.
Yeah. No, but I mean, with this game, there's a few kind of things to focus on. Firstly, Winnipeg's offense was rolling the entire game. Whether it was the passing game or the rushing game, Brady Oliveira, 98 rushing yards on 15 carries for an average of 6.5. Greg Bell actually has a higher average on the Ticats side of things. However, you'll notice that his longest carry, Brady Oliveira's longest carry is 16 yards. Greg Bell's was 30 yards, which what this shows is that Greg Bell had a couple times that he really broke out and he really got a ton of yardage, and credit to him, you know? But Brady Oliveira, with the average of 6.5, was pretty much hitting that on most plays. He had some plays he didn't get much. He had some plays where he got 8 or 10, and one where he got 16 yards, which was what he led at. Chris Streveler did very, very well in his role. His role as a short yardage quarterback. He averaged 3.7 yards. Keep in mind, he averaged 3.7 yards when he's playing short yardage, and the goal is to get 1 yard. So he does very well there. Chris Streveler also throws one pass. It was a 23-yarder. It was for Dembski on third down as they had a little bit of trickery last time they played Hamilton, and it worked very well, and so they decided to try it again. And it worked very well once again. Obviously, they didn't do too much, which was good. That's the one thing you want to keep with trickery, is that trickery is not trickery if it's all the time. And so that was really, really good. I think Jason Hogan play calls a very good game here. Like, a lot of us had our concerns with Jason Hogan earlier in this year. I think I was more cautious to hop on the fire Jason Hogan train than many were. As I think my thing is that this screamed of, and I think this is a lot more clear now, this didn't scream of a bad offensive coordinator. This screamed of a inexperienced offensive coordinator, and those are not the same thing.
What I was going to say was, before everyone jumps on the Mike Hogan did well bandwagon.
You mean Jason Hogan?
Jason Hogan. Let's get something straight here. You guys would not have had success if it was for your offensive line, period.
Okay. That is a factor. That's true.
Because
they
did not let any Hamilton defense pressure near Caleros.
That okay. So you can say that
never been on their game.
That's true. There's truth there. Now,
as well as of a game.
Can I present a little bit of a challenge here to that? Because I think two things can be true at the same time. In the sense of that, I think it's true that Hamilton did not get as much pressure from their D-line than they would expect. That would be what you would say you're looking for. I don't think that necessarily diminishes what Jason Hogan did accomplish, though. Because Jason Hogan in prior, like, I'm comparing Jason Hogan here to Jason Hogan here. I'm not comparing Jason Hogan to other ones. I'm comparing his performance in prior games. And in his performance in prior games, there have been at times it's kind of screamed inexperienced. And the reason why I'm saying this is just there's one play where it's like 2nd and 2. And 2nd and 2, and he goes for like a 35-yard bomb, and everyone's like, "What are you doing? Like, what is he thinking here? Like, he's getting ahead of himself." And in this game, I didn't see stuff like that. I saw a offensive coordinator that was a lot more disciplined, that made smarter decisions in that regard, and so. I think all in all he did really well. I thought at times he decided to get a little bit tricky. As there was a really nice play where the Bombers needed a bit of yardage. It was 1st and 19 because they had taken a penalty, I believe. And so what he does is Zach Collaros steps in the pocket. Ticats are expecting a pass. But what he does is Brady Oliveira goes to look like he's about to apply an extra block in that backfield. And he slips right through the center. And Zach Collaros just does a nice toss to him. And then Brady Oliveira charges that ball forward. And he gets around 12 yards out of it. That's a well-designed play by Jason Hogan, taking advantage of the fact that Hamilton is obviously expecting a pass. And they get a rush, but a rush that really still sells the defense of that pass. Again, I'm not gonna pretend that Jason Hogan is now the be-all, end-all and that he's the greatest offensive coordinator and that he will solve all of our problems and world peace is here because of Jason Hogan. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, for a guy that's had his struggles, he did well. So I felt that was worth mentioning.
I just think, because you guys have Edmonton not this week, but the week after. Then you guys have Saskatchewan. Then you guys have Montreal. Let's see how well you do against Saskatchewan and Montreal first before... Like, I get with what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, before people praise him as the next... I'm not saying you, I'm saying other people. Before they praise him, it's like, let's take a look to see...
Here's my thing. I think if the struggles that the Bombers will probably endure against Saskatchewan, win, lose, or draw, I think those struggles happen regardless who the offensive coordinator is. Saskatchewan's just a great team. You know what I mean?
It all depends, because there's another game that we're going to get into where it's just like, if you get that side of Saskatchewan, you may have a better shot of winning.
Yeah. So, on to the next one.
On to the next one.
Which then brings us to our fourth and final game of the week.
The upset
as the Edmonton Elks defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now, firstly, I want to give serious props to the Edmonton Elks fans here. It was the Edmonton Elks dealt with the tragic passing of Larry Thompson leading into this game, which is why we had put we had mentioned it at the start of our disclaimer at the start of our prior two videos. And rest in peace to him, and thoughts and prayers with his family. I was so happy to see the attendance that they had, to see how much how many people they packed in there. They packed 30,000, which it's been a while since Edmonton's had 30,000 at Commonwealth Stadium for a game. And it was one of those things where I think the best way that the Edmonton Elks can honor their former owner, is to really strive forward and kind of achieve the dream that he was working for. He bought this team because he wanted to turn it around, because he wanted to get butts back in seats. He wanted this team to be making money. He wanted the team to be succeeding on the field and bringing the joy to Edmontonians that he had seen when he was growing up in Edmonton, going to the games. And so I hope that is something that the Edmonton Elks are able to do. And big win against Saskatchewan in a must-win game against a damn good opponent. And yeah, I think it was well earned. So, what were your thoughts on this game, Rick?
Well, first of all, like I had mentioned, so Rider fans are complaining that the ref blew the call too early as the player was running down and going as a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Well, let's take a step back. The first quarter, as I mentioned off camera, Trevor Harris threw 2 interceptions within a minute and 13 seconds. Edmonton may not have gotten points off of it, maybe got 1 single. But if you don't get that, plus the fumble that they caused earlier to get more points on that, you would have not lost this game. On top of it, I don't know what Mueller was thinking, making Lothar kick a 50 and 55-yard field goal. Because if you think about it, Carter,
Yep.
once the new rules come, those are like 60-yard field goals.
Yeah.
No kickers making, but even hold on. But if you think about it, if he's making 60 this year, that's more like 70, and Castillo ain't making no 70-yard field goals. I don't care what you say.
You gotta believe, baby.
Shut up.
You gotta believe.
But
Sergio Castillo is not a man for the weak. He's not for the weak.
I will send out a congratulations to AJ Ouellette because he is the 3rd running back to hit over 1,000 rushing yards. And your boy, Brady Oliveira, has another 29 more yards to go before he hits 1,000.
He's going to hit it. And he'll have, what, four straight seasons of that once he hits it?
Let me look that up.
I think that'll be 4 straight seasons.
What kills me, though, is Trevor Harris throws 351 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Cody Fajardo throws 305 and no touchdowns. But yet you have 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yes, this will be the 4th one straight.
Yeah, 4th year, which I don't think there's another running back in the CFL currently that has a streak like that. I could be wrong. But I know AJ Ouellette doesn't, because I know both his injury, both injury and performance related reasons.
I think Butler's at 3.
3 straight? Okay.
No, like 3. If he
I mean consecutive.
Let me say this. So if he wasn't kept out of the lineup because of Greg Bell last year, he would have had 4 consecutive.
I see.
1,000 yards.
But he doesn't have it because
of Greg Bell last year.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
So, do we, is there anything else that we really got here, Rick?
All I'm going to say is all those Rider fans that are asking for Riders to trade for a kicker, besides Ottawa, no other team's a seller this year.
You wouldn't say Toronto would be willing to do it at the right price?
Depends on what they're getting for, but again,
I think if you're Toronto, you go to Saskatchewan, you'd be like, all right, hire Lahu for a 1st round pick.
Yeah, but you're not getting a 1st round pick for him though.
Then maybe a second. I don't know. I like that's the thing. I think.
So
here's the thing. Do I necessarily think that Saskatchewan would take the offer? Maybe not. But if you're Toronto, you should try. Because again, it's not like Hairolahu is going to be around very long, and it's one of those things where if you're Saskatchewan, even if the trade maybe doesn't seem like it's worth it, it's kind of like, man, we're thinking Grey Cup or bust this year with this squad. And if this comes down to a kicking showdown in the Grey Cup, because it very well can, when push comes to shove, are we getting our fifth franchise Grey Cup? Or is it not happening?
To give a bit of history on this, and I'm just talking about like the past trades. So
yeah,
mostly first round picks that you'll see like teams moving up and teams moving down. The only time that I've seen like a significant draft pick traded was 24 when we gave up 23-24 when Hamilton picked up Bo and BC picked up Vernon Adams.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm saying here's my thing. I think there's no reason that Toronto can't at least get like a third round pick.
Oh, second or third, I can see that.
Yeah, second or third. To be fair, I said start with first just to see if they actually bite on it, you know? At the end of the day, worst thing they could say is no.
I mean,
point is, if I'm Toronto, you know you have someone invaluable in Hairolahu. You know that you could use some young guys to bring into the system. You know that your team is not making the playoffs this year because currently you have three different you have three different teams in the West that are all in the running for either third in the West or your spot out East, and all three of them have a better record than the Toronto Argonauts. All three of them. Even last placed in the West is doing better in Toronto. And I understand that as the defending Grey Cup champions, it's probably not something you like hearing. But, I mean, I'll put it this way. I've watched Toronto Argonauts this year. Have I seen much defending of that Grey Cup? Not really. So, I don't know.
Mind you, Toronto does have the most draft picks this upcoming draft. So, it's quite possible.
Doesn't even need to be necessarily this year. You could go even a year after.
No, I'm just thinking, like, if Riders don't get a kicker, I can tell you they are losing in the playoffs because Brett Lother's going to cost them the game somewhere.
There's going to be at some point so your thought is there's going to be at some point in time where the fact that they didn't get a kicker is going to bite them in the ass when they need it the most.
Yes.
When they need success, and it's just they're so close, but they need to make that kick, and he doesn't make the kick. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Is there anything else that we got here, Rick?
No, my friend.
All right. Well, in that case, I think we will wrap this up. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys tune in later today as we will have our video on the trade that happened in the CFL. Some good fun stuff to talk about there. So make sure you guys tune into that. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and give us 5 stars on Spotify if you're listening to us there, as we very much appreciate the support. Peace, love, and positivity to all you wonderful people at home, and we will see you guys next time.